Anyways, I saw that, and then this morning, as I was praying, I had a vision, and I saw this big building, this big business, all these big business buildings. And there was a gentleman, well, I can't say gentleman, he was bald-headed, he had no hair on him, and he was big, and he was lurking behind the buildings. And I realized that every building he was running behind the buildings. And I'm thinking, and then I realized that the buildings were all business buildings. And the Lord said to me, that was the demon of Allah. And I said, the demon of Allah? He says, yes, that's the demon of Allah. Because he uses businesses. He uses money. He promotes the love of money. So that he can, in hope to infiltrate the kingdom of light and draw people away. So the demon Allah was hiding behind these large businesses and these large buildings, manipulation of the love of money, the love of pride, the love of hatred, and a servant to the prince of death who sits at Satan's table of counsel. And then I saw like Satan's table of counsel with all of these high-ranking angels and so forth. And there was the prince of death. And Allah was a servant to him. So everything is to promote death. Has everybody got it? I want to try and see if I can recall everything here. So the demon of Allah, hiding behind these large businesses and these huge buildings, that was promoting the manipulation of the love of money, the love of pride, the love of hatred, and a servant to the prince of death who sits at the Satan's table of counsel. And his purpose is to promote and complete destruction to mankind. Annihilation to mankind. So that they destroy one another. Because he promotes hatred. His whole purpose is for man to destroy one another. And to make mankind bring him into the slavery of his doctrine of lies and religion of Antichrist. In other words, I don't know, in the Word it talks about the battle between Isaac and Ishmael. But it wasn't a battle between them, but which one came first? Ishmael. Again, darkness. Amen? Then Isaac, the promised seed. And you can look at Abel and Cain. Which one came first? Cain. Amen? Then Abel. So darkness first. And we're going to go more into the arena between Isaac and Ishmael. But not tonight. But that battle is still going on. The battle of light and darkness, the battle of the promised seed. And as the vision continued, I saw Buddha. Now, remember that the demon of Allah was running on the earth behind these big business buildings. And the things that he was promoting, the love of money and hatred and jealousy and so forth. And then underground, I saw Buddha, the demon of Buddha. And he was sitting next to a 55-gallon drum underneath the ground, like tunnels under the ground. And he was sitting in this position. And in this 55-gallon drum, there was fire, and it was like for people to come to get warm. And everybody all around him was coming. And in other words, that fire was producing a light, but it was a false light. And one of the things that I saw and I sensed in my spirit that he was speaking calmly to the people. So he was promoting a false peace. But what this false peace was doing was leading them all into poverty. All into poverty. Thinking that they were doing good by self-sacrifice. But it was a self-sacrifice of not serving God. It was a self-sacrifice of a poverty mentality. Because many people have taken vows. I saw a priest on TV one day. He said, I've taken the vow of poverty. I thought, what an idiot. God said, I've come to bring you life and life abundantly, not to put you in poverty. Amen. So underneath the ground, Buddha was under the ground sitting up in his stance, and that fire was burning next to him. And all these people were gathered around him. And he was promoting a false peace, but he was leading them into poverty, in bondage, in debt. Has everybody got it? Everything was to be removed from the individual. And then they had a false peace about giving everything. You know, they've got all these goofy religions and stuff that are out there. They give everything. And there's nothing wrong with giving things away, but they're not giving it for they're not giving it to help people. They're giving it to promote poverty in their life, thinking that this is a sacrifice. Amen. But God's not interested in sacrifices, is he? He's interested in obedience. Is everybody okay? And this is continued on. Then I saw that the religion of the Antichrist was being established. And it was not the one underneath. It was the one on top. And I thought, wow. It's getting closer, closer, and closer. And I kept thinking about the false doctrines, that it's promoting darkness. The false doctrines that's promoting bondage. The false doctrines and all of these areas of lies. Because they're not truths. So how could there be truth? There can't be any light if there's no truth. Amen? And if there's not truth, there's not light. So all of these individuals, and if you look around the country, around the globe right now, look where all of these disasters are happening big time. Many disasters in these areas where these demons, these false gods are reigning. Right now. All over. Mudslides, floods, all kinds of things that are happening in disasters, earthquakes, volcanoes. I mean, I'm telling you, all kinds of things are happening. Why? Because God is shaking. But all of these things are going to prove light. That's why it's so important that you maintain, no matter what, no matter where you are, no matter what's going on. You are children of light. Amen? Go to Romans 12.